How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another instalment of Clubs in Trouble. The rules for this challenge are very simple. We can only make up to 3 signings per transfer window. We must use the basic transfer budget given to us, and then we must play 1 full season with the club. We then measure our success with a score out of 10 and determine whether further seasons are needed. Vibe Gang members can have their say on the next club we use in exclusive polls over on the community tab. And the team we are taking over for today's episode of Clubs in Trouble is Sheffield United, currently sitting rock bottom of the Premier League. They've only accumulated 1 point so far this season in I think 9 or 10 games, so very, very poor return. It's time for a little rescue job here. So the transfer budget, just below £20 million. We know that that is not always entirely accurate. We can maybe manipulate that with changing the wages, but as the transfer budgets go, it's still one of the lowest in the Premier League. So let's see what we can do with our 3 signings in each transfer window, and hopefully, I reckon, get Sheffield United to a top 10 finish. I almost went 12, but we're going to go with 10. So first thing to do is take a look at the teams that are going to join us in the European International Cup, which is always the one that gives the most potential prize money. So you've got Valencia there, some very, very good teams here. Wolfsburg as well, Frankfurt, Olympic Lyon, Hoffenheim, amongst a couple of other mostly German teams in there, but very, very difficult group of fixtures. Hopefully we can win that though and get that extra £7 million to our transfer budget. Let's immediately go and see how much we can manipulate this transfer budget. So not as much as previously, but we still definitely can. Yeah, definitely not as much as the likes of Fulham and stuff, but oh yeah, really not as much as the likes of Fulham and stuff. We're probably looking at about a £22 million, £23 million transfer budget. So we're definitely going to have to sell some players to get more money in. Is there anybody good off the bat in our youth academy? Not really. This is probably the worst set of players I've ever seen to any save that I've done so far in any career mode that I've done. So we've got this player here, Yago Diaz, who's a Uruguayan, 15 years old, maybe a good player if we do choose to invest in him, but he's very young, so probably not in the first or even second season is going to see him get anywhere near his potential. So probably for now, we're not going to have any youth players as a backup, probably. So here are my thoughts off the bat on the Sheffield United squad overall. So we've got the nice sort of classic 5 at the back or 3 at the back, however you want to look at it. But the wing backs, a real focal point of Sheffield United's success, both coming up from the Championship to the Premier League and of course in that first season as well. However, if we do go in to have a look at the personnel we've got, you've got, again, a pretty much star player for Sheffield United. You've got Stevens on the left wing-back position. You've got Baldock at the right wing-back position. They're both kind of in their prime ages, 29 and 27. And you've got a number of other wing-backs in and around the squad. You've also got these young full-backs like Bogle and still young but less young, Lowe. So he's 23, Lowe, and Bogle is 19. I think these boys are probably the future. And it might be time from a financial standpoint to maybe flog a couple of these wing-backs and sell them to another team that play a wing-back formation potentially. So this is my plan, my transition plan, to get Sheffield United playing a narrow diamond, because I mean we've seen in real life this 5 at the back formation, this wing-back formation, hasn't necessarily been working in 2020. So what I want to do is potentially look at getting the bulk of our incoming money from player sales from the 2 wing-backs, the 2 starting wing-backs, and start training up Bogle and Lowe to be actual fullbacks. And we're going to go with this narrow diamond formation. We're maybe lacking a couple of midfielders, but this guy Osborne, reasonably young, he's 25. His transition to a centre midfield shouldn't take too long, because you can see it's on his other positions that he can play there. So that's an option. And then, yeah, we'll probably look at signing a midfielder, potentially another fullback, and then maybe a striker or a CAM probably. In fact, a CAM is going to definitely be necessary because we haven't got any natural attacking midfielders. So that's my thoughts so far. We actually do. We have this guy, but he's a 57 rated. So yeah, we're not going to be using him. So I think that's my thoughts so far, but we'll kind of play it by ear, see who we can sell, see who we get offers for, and yeah, we'll see what we can do with the Sheffield United team. So here is the first casualty of the episode, and it's David McGoldrick, who leaves to Olympique Marseille for £3.4 million. 2.4 added to our transfer budget. Where does the rest of that 1 mil go? You know, can't we just have it? Can't we just have it? Doesn't it know we're doing a rebuild? And there we go, guys. That's our first signing for Sheffield United, and it is Jesse Lingard, a Yorkshire boy, who moves over to Sheffield and joins Sheffield United's ranks. So £8.9 million. The reason I've gone for maybe a slightly older player in that position is because, one, you can get him for a lot cheaper. You're looking at anyone younger than 25, you're looking at about 15 to 20 million minimum for the same sort of rating as Jesse Lingard. The other thing was he's our favourite Manchester United, perhaps not on form. Again, cheap for us in the grand scheme of things. And we don't have anyone naturally in the attacking midfield role in this new formation before making this Lingard signing. So Lingard comes in as the sort of more senior, regular starter initially, and then maybe we'll sign another attacking midfielder who's maybe in his shadow, a bit of a protege, but he's going to slot straight in at attacking midfield. We've dropped Fleck to the bench, and already we're looking like this formation could work for us. And a second exit for Sheffield United in this save, and it's Billy Sharp this time, who leaves to Genoa for 1.35 million. Just under a mil added to our transfer budget. And here we are in the final of the European International Cup. We've got Frankfurt. We're drawn away effectively. I don't know whether to go for this formation or this formation, but I'm thinking maybe to stick with, I don't know, maybe we'll go for a bit of familiarity just for this final, and then we'll gradually do that transition as the season goes on. We'll do the quick sim. Hopefully we can get the full £7 million. We do get a 3-2 away victory there. Mousse scoring 2 goals. McBurney also scoring. So our young, promising strikers on form in the pre-season tournament, which is very, very promising. So here's probably quite a bit of a regrettable exit, I would say. John Fleck goes to Southampton for £11.4 million. 8.5 added to our transfer budget. He's a 28-year-old Scottish midfielder. Very, very good player for Sheffield United in real life, but selling him is just going to enable us to get a better calibre of player. And I'm thinking we'll probably sign somebody who can play midfield and attack in midfield. So hopefully that is a smart move in the long term. But a shame to see Fleck go. And would you look at this bargain for our second signing of the Sheffield United Clubs in Trouble save? We've got a £4.1 million deal agreed for Joseph Willock from Arsenal. Now this guy's perfect now that we've sold Fleck, because it means he can draft in at either CAM or CM. So he's quite versatile in that midfield. A young player who we can work on. He's only 20. He's 71 rated, so a bit of a rating drop-off. But hopefully, if we train him right, if we keep him on form, Willock will be a really good player for us to work on throughout this season and beyond. That also enables us to keep a healthy amount of money in the budget for going into this third transfer that we want to make. We've still got 31.27 million, which means hopefully the third and final signing will be a bit more of a ready-made first-team player. But also, we always have to keep in mind that we do want to keep an eye on the January transfer window, where we are allowed 3 more signings as well. We also haven't sold either of our wing-backs yet, which will hopefully bring in, if we can get them sold, about £20 million roughly. So we've still got a few more out the door, but that is the second signing done, and Willock is in. And there we go. Ender Stevens has been sold to Getafe in the Spanish league for 12.6 million. 30 years old, was never going to grow in rating by more than maybe 1 in the rest of his career, and 9.5 million added to that already pretty healthy transfer budget. So that is going to enable us to do great things hopefully in this new formation. And another exit here is I honestly feel like I'm pretty much selling the entire like every single star player at Sheffield United right now, and Chris Basham, the latest on that list to leave. Again, 32 years old, not part of Project Rebuild here at Sheffield United. He goes to the Dutch league to join up with the, I think, reigning champions Ajax for 6 million. Another little 4.2 added to our budget. And yes, our third and final signing here had to be a good one, and we have signed Serdar, the midfielder, very versatile midfielder, can play sort of regular CM, he can play CDM and CAM as well, so perfect for our formation. We actually get him in the end off of Aston Villa, so I think what he's done is pulled a bit of a Dietmar Hamann. I don't know if anyone remembers when he signed, I think, for Bolton, and then like a few days later he signed for Man City. So we've basically bought him off of a team that he's just signed for. That's what it seems like anyway. So Serdar is a 78 rated midfielder. He's 27.5 million, and that's what we had to pay to get him. He's 23 years old, so he's going to be a future star for us. We hope he's going to slot in there nicely in midfield. Gives us a lot more options. It means we've got Serdar and Lundstram, for example, now starting with Berge and Lingard sort of deeper and further ahead. And then we've got players like Norwood and Willock that we can draft in. And it just gives us a nice amount of high-quality midfielders and completes our squad for this first transfer window. We are actually now as well, hopefully, going to keep Baldock rather than sell him because we can convert him to an actual out-and-out right-back, something we couldn't do with Stevens on the left side. So, for now, potentially the only place we're lacking a little bit is left-back, but I think we'll be all right. And Simon Moore, the keeper who... it was pretty much our fourth choice, has gone to Michelin over in, is that Denmark or Sweden? I think it's Denmark, but he's gone to Michelin for 620k. Last hour of deadline day then, and we've had some huge transfers over here. Immobile's a striker, but 2 defenders there in the region of 100 million, and Immobile moving to Barca for over 100 mil. So some really crazy stuff there. But in terms of Sheffield United, we've done our business. We're reasonably happy with it, I'd say. And now let's go and have a look at the squad going into the first half of this season. What have we got to mess around with? So, up front, we've got Moussa and McBurney both gone up to 75 rated strikers. We've got Lingard in behind there at his 77 rated in CAM. We've got Lundstram, we've got Serdar. Very excited about how he's going to turn out rating-wise. And we've got also Sander Berger, who already is a Sheffield United player. He's already gone up to an 80. The 2 centre-backs, Egan, who's now captain, and O'Connell have gone up to 79s. Lowe is still out at a 72 on the left-back position. Baldock has converted fully now to a out-and-out right-back, and he's still at 77. We've obviously got Bogle on the bench as well to rotate in with him. Thinking maybe to add left-back to Bogle's game so he can come in for either full-back. I think that might be the way to do it. Ramsdale, the young 22-year-old keeper, has gone up to a 76 as well. On the bench right now, we've got Verips, the, again, young keeper. Ampadu, the young centre-back, who's hopefully going to be good in the future. Bogle, Osborne, Norwood, Willock. Willock's a very good player, promising upcoming player as well. And Brewster. So lots and lots of young upcoming stars, particularly English stars as well, which I think fits the Sheffield United bill. I'm very happy with that. A few players that are going to get a bit of game time in the reserves. We've got Burke, just full of pace to come off the bench. Robinson and maybe Jagielka. Other than that, I don't see too many of those lot getting too much game time. So we're working with kind of a small squad, but the bench is strong. It's pretty strong right now for a sort of top 12 finish in the Premier League. Of course, we need to see these players grow, and of course, we need to make sure we do the right business in January as well. But for now, let's check in at the end of each month. And of course, starting with the first month of August, we've played our 4 opening games of the Premier League, and we sit currently in 13th place. We've won 1 game, drawn 2 games, and lost 1. Let's have a look in depth at those results. And you can see we kicked the season off with a 1-1 draw against Southampton before losing 2-0 on the 15th there to Chelsea. We then got a 1-0 victory over Leeds, a 2-1 victory in the Cup over Championship side Birmingham, and then we drew 1-1 most recently with Crystal Palace. And this is the 4 teams. These are the 4 teams that we've got this month. We've got a very difficult game here against Manchester City on the 12th, Burnley, Leicester, and Bournemouth in the Cup, all winnable fixtures though. Let's see how we do. Wow, fair to say then, a very difficult month for Sheffield United in September. A loss 3-1 to Manchester City to start the month off. Then we only managed a draw against Burnley, again not the best. Then we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup 1-0 to Bournemouth, and then a 3-0 loss there to Leicester City, which very, very poor. I don't know exactly why we've had such poor form. Maybe we're just not scoring enough goals, but overall 1 point in those 3 league games plus getting knocked out of the Cup. Very, very poor. Let's hope that we can change our fortunes around. Not looking easy. We've got Arsenal first in the month of October. We've then got Newcastle at home. Hopefully we'll win that one. Difficult game against Tottenham and against West Brom. Hopefully we can get something as well. And we definitely improved in that month. So we started things off. We actually took a point from Arsenal, which is a fairly good result, particularly off the back of that awful September. We then managed to get a win 2-1 against Newcastle. A very narrow loss against Spurs, which is obviously not the best, but at least it wasn't an absolute walloping. And then a 1-0 victory away at West Brom. So all seeming to be quite narrow results there. So maybe this formation's making the games quite tight. But we've got 3 more games in November. Let's see how we do. So an undefeated month, not a perfect month, but undefeated is better than nothing. So we got a draw 0-0 against West Ham. We then won away against Brighton 3-1 and drew crucially at home 2-2 to Everton, who are doing quite well in the league, I think. So 5 points out of a possible 9. It's getting there, but hopefully we can do better than this as the months go forward. So one more month now, and always, as always, a busy December. We've got Wolves, Villa, United, Fulham, Liverpool, Everton and Brighton. So very, very heavy fixture list, and hopefully we can get a decent amount of points here before going into this January transfer window. And we came through the all-important month of December reasonably well, I'd say. So 7 league games as usual, and although we lost 3, we didn't draw any of the rest, if that makes sense. So we still accumulated 12 points and 4 wins, of course, from those 7 games. So we lost 2-1 to Wolves on the first. We then proceeded to beat Villa. We beat United. We lost to Fulham narrowly at home. Poor result there, really. If we had won that one, it would have been a really, really good month. We lost 4-2 to Liverpool. Scored a couple of goals there. Not bad. We then won away at Everton, and we won also at home against Brighton. So December is over. We now have the January transfer window open, but how much money do we have? Well, as you can see here in the office, we have got £20 million to spend on further signings. Of course, the limit of 3 comes back into play. We also can still sell players, recall players from loan, so we'll see what we do. All right, guys, so you can see here we are actually beyond the 31st of January. So quite a bit of time has passed, and I'm going to go through exactly what we did in the January transfer window in order to sort out the Sheffield United squad a little bit more. So what we did in terms of exits is we let Ben Osborne go. He was the guy that started off as a left wing back, and of course we converted him to a centre mid. He was a good rotation player but wasn't playing as much, and I believe we let him go to Getafe for a fee in the region of about £6-7 million. So that wasn't a bad deal at all. Coming the other way, let's have a look at who we signed. And it was a double signing on the same day. We managed to secure Matthew Longstaff, the younger of the Longstaff brothers from Newcastle. He's more of the defensive brother, so he can play CM and CDM as well. We got him for £6.2 million. He's 20 years old and will, of course, be a protege to our current defensive midfield, Berger, who is pretty much our best player at this point. We also signed the left back, Adria Pedrosa. He came from Espanyol in the Spanish league, 22-year-old left back. He was worth £14.75 million. We left a little bit of money in the transfer budget and didn't actually make a third signing in January. And if we were to do a second episode with this Sheffield United team, guys, this would impact us next season. So we'd have an extra little bit of money. It takes that into consideration. So that is good. Let's have a look at the squad before we move on to where we are in the league. So this is looking nice and healthy. Striker-wise, we possibly are lacking just a little bit in rating. But you can see still, McBurney and Mousse, I've got big faith in these young boys. And they are 78 and 77 rated, respectively. Banging in goals for us as well. As you can see there, Mousse's gone up to a 5-star, 5-star in terms of his skill moves and weak foot as well, so that's good. Lingard stays at 77, not growing at all so far, but he's been a solid performer. Lundstram at 78, Serdar at 80 in midfield. Berger sitting back, he's gone up to an 82, which is really, really good. Our 2 centre-backs as well are minimum 80 rated, so we've got the captain at the moment, Egan. He is an 80 rated, and O'Connell is an 81 rated, so this is really good because we've got some nice sort of prime age centre-backs that are really starting to, their rating's starting to take shape a lot more than it was before. So we've got Pedrosa now at left back, who is the new signing. He's going to rotate in with the guy who was playing the first half of the season, Low. Of course, they're very similar in rating, very similar in age as well. He's got a little bit more pace about him, Pedrosa, but he's a very, very good young Spanish left back. We've also got Baldock on the right-hand side of defence. We've also got Bogle, who is rotating in with him. You can see the bench now looking a lot stronger. Ampadu up to a 70. Norwood still knocking about at 77. Willock gone up only by 1. I'd like him to have gone up a little bit more, but still, solid player for the future. He's up to a 72. Burke's up to a 69 and Brewster up to a 72 at the moment. We've also recalled a few players from loan, and you can see Longstaff is down here in the reserves at the moment on a 73 rating. We've also recalled a player that might get maybe a little bit of game time in, I can't remember this guy's first name, but Freeman anyway. He was on loan, I think, at Nottingham Forest. So the squad is looking so much stronger, especially in depth as well. The first 11 is definitely a top 10 side. But I have to show you guys the league right now, and it's a bit frustrating. I mean, we've got that nice 90 rating up in the top left there, which is always good. It means we're doing a good job in the board's eyes. But have a look at where we are in the table. We are sitting in 9th place, which is actually all right. We're on track to achieve what we set out to do. But Arsenal there ahead of us by 13 points, and they are the direct next team above us. So we are going to have to claw back a lot of points on Arsenal, Leicester, Wolves, Chelsea if we want to move up from 9th. If we did finish 9th, it would be the worst season finish in Clubs in Trouble so far in all the 3 episodes. But Sheffield United possibly maybe started off with a better team than Fulham, so we maybe have to take that into consideration when we do our overall rating out of 10. But we're on track to achieve what we set out to. If we can start using this squad now and hit some real big form, we are on February 10th, by the way, but we might be able to claw back on one of those Arsenal, Leicester, Wolves. It depends. We'll have to really perform out our skins though. And Luke Freeman, a player that we did recall from loan, I did mention that earlier, but he has now permanently gone to Watford for 1.8 million, so he'll join them in the summer transfer window. And so at the end of the very quiet month of February, we did get only 4 points from our 9 available points that we could have got. So we lost 3-1 to Spurs, we then drew 1-1 away at Newcastle, and then beat West Ham, which was actually quite a good result, away at the, what's it called now? The London Stadium, that's it. We beat them 2-1 on the 27th. So again, we need to pick up this form if we want to catch the pack ahead of us. And you know what? Yet again, I feel like it could be points dropped with that 2-2 home draw against Burnley on the 13th in the month of March. We did get a 1-0 victory against West Brom. Maybe that could have been by a bigger deficit. But then we did get a very solid result with a 1-1 draw against Manchester City. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so far we haven't got a victory against any of like the big 6 or 7, like Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, anyone like that. We've got a few more games that are definitely winnable. We've got 3 more like big teams to play throughout the rest of the season. Let's see what we can do in the remaining 2 months. Wow, and as April continues to progress, you can see that we have yet again had a very poor month. Literally no wins this month. We lost narrowly to Liverpool. We lost narrowly to Chelsea. Only managed to draw against both Southampton and Fulham. And we now have 1 month to put it right. 3 fixtures. Manchester United at home, Crystal Palace at home, and then ending the season with Leeds away. I'm not being funny, we probably need 9 points out of this. So guys, as you know, we are going to play the last game of the season, but some really bad results again in May, and this has not been a great second half of the season, nowhere near as good as I expected this Sheffield United squad that I've assembled to be. We lost 2-0 to Manchester United, we drew 0-0 at home to Crystal Palace. We can't score at the moment, and we just can't, I don't know if it's the formation or what, but we've got this game against Leeds to test it out in game, to see maybe what the problems are. But before we do that, let's have a look at where we are in the league table. So we have actually dropped out of the top 10. So we may not, in this episode, even hit the bare minimum goal that we have set for ourselves. This is not familiar territory for me, recording a Clubs in Trouble episode. Normally, the signings that we make, they really do make a difference. But this time, this is the squad that we're dealing with on a glimpse, guys. But let's go deeper than that into the squad hub. Have a look at the performers, the top scorers, the top assisters, and all that good stuff. So before we go into this Leeds game, our top scorers on joint goals with 19 each, it's Lys Mousset and McBurney. So up front, these boys have been pretty good. 17 goals in the Premier League for McBurney and 14 for Mousset. They're both quite young. They're approaching their prime. And I think we can get a decent amount out of both of these strikers if we were to continue this into a second season. Longstaff, it seems, actually got the majority of his goals when he was back at Newcastle, because I don't think he scored for us, if I can remember rightly, in the second half of the season. Baldock was next with 3 goals, so maybe that's our problem. We don't really have anybody who's able to score goals. You're looking at Lingard to score more. Perhaps he was a bit of a flop signing from me. Maybe it was a bad choice. Assists-wise then, the top assister in the club is Serdar, the new signing from Germany, from Schalke. He played pretty well, 3 goals and 7 assists from a sort of deep, not deep, but like proper midfield position. Berger was next with 5, Lingard with 4. So again, Lingard perhaps underperforming with his goals and assists. Thought maybe bringing him to a club like Sheffield United might improve the goals and assists return for Lingard, but it seems that he's not really been up to scratch. You can see the others that contributed assists, only a few for each. And if we do this by appearances, then I know some stat guys, as I always say this, like to just have a look at how each individual player contributed. So we'll just run down the entire squad list all the way down to the players that haven't played any games. There we go. But now let's have a look and see if we can get the best out of this Sheffield United squad that we have assembled in-game against Leeds on the last game of the season. Also, if we do win, there is still a chance we can get top 10 because Everton are only 2 points ahead of us, but we are relying on Everton to lose, which is not good. Let's see who Everton have got as well, because it will make it a little bit more interesting. They've got Fulham away, so that's definitely a very winnable fixture for them. Fulham down in 16th. The 3 clubs relegated this time look to be Crystal Palace, Brighton and Leeds, but West Brom could yet get dragged into it. Winning the league so far, well, Liverpool have run away with it there. It looks like, yeah, the top 4 is pretty much settled there, and Chelsea maybe could sneak above Manchester United with a ridiculous goal turnaround. Other than that, the table was pretty much like everybody's kind of already achieved what they're going to at the end of the season. There's not much that can happen on this last day, but we want to squeeze into that top 10 if we can, so let's try and do so. So going into this game, we'll have a final rating check. We've got the 278 rated strikers, Moussa and McBurney up front. We're going to have Lingard, because Willock hasn't grown enough, so Lingard will remain in centre attacking midfield. Lundstram and Serdar are either side of Lingard, just behind him, and then holding midfielder is Sander Berge. Pedrosa is at left back, Baldock is at right back, O'Connell and Egan in the middle with Ramsdale, who I don't think I mentioned earlier, in goal, who's gone up, I think, by 4 or 5 to a 79 rated keeper. A number of decent players, as always, on the bench. Bit harsh not to maybe get Matty Longstaff involved. I don't know whether to put him on instead of like a Burke or a Norwood, but I think for now we'll just leave Longstaff to be one for the future. So here we are at Elland Road, and it is of course Leeds who are rock bottom, propping up the table right now. Let's have a look at how they line up ahead of this Yorkshire clash against us, Sheffield United. So here we go. Casilla is in goal, Ayling, Cresswell, Robin Koch and Stuart Dallas at the back. Calvin Phillips in midfield, Costa, Click, Hernandez and Poveda in midfield with Bamford up front. It's definitely a beatable side if you ask me. They've also got Will Hughes on the bench. Rodrigo doesn't get a start either, and Meslier, who is normally their goalkeeper, is on the bench. And let's have a look at the Sheffield United team with these lovely Premier League graphics. Of course, Ramsdale in goal. We've got Baldock, O'Connell, Egan and Pedrosa at the back. In midfield, we've got Sander Berge, or is it Burge? I don't know. Serdar and Lundstram just ahead of him, with Lingard behind the 2 strikers, Moussa and McBurney. Let's go, boys. There the boys are in the huddle, just hoping that we can at least scrape 10th in this save. I really hope so. Lingard escaping up the right-hand side. He's found a bit of width here. Did I say width? I meant width. Moussa, what's he going to do with it? Little 5-star skill trick. Are we going to get the left-footed finesse? Oh, it's a brilliant goal from Lys Moussa. And if that's the sort of thing that this man is capable of, I can't... Well, yeah, I suppose he has scored quite a lot of goals. I was going to say I can't see why he hasn't scored more goals, but he has bagged 15 after that finish in the league, I believe now. We do the little one-handed press up to flex on Leeds. It's a bit early for that. I shouldn't have got that out, really. But look at this. I love this move on FIFA 21. Little flick inside. And then, oh, what a finish with his left peg. Love that from the boy Moussa. We signed him for West Ham, actually, as a backup striker. And I can see why. I did that before because he's got the talent, this boy. Little flick inside. He's got the 5-star skills now, has he? McBurney inside to Jesse Lingard, who's going to spread it out of his left foot. That's a good pass. Great waiting on that from Jesse Lingard. Baldock down the right-hand side, looking to check back into Lys Moussa, who does the dummy. Can we get a little shot off at some point here? They're pressing us quite hard, Leeds. We can, though. Look at this space here for Serdar. Little finesse shot and saved by Kiko Casilla in between the sticks. That was a good chance for us there. Serdar, I think, on the end of it, eventually, just maybe should have got that a little bit more in the corner. That could have been 2-0. Chip ball into the box from the free kick. It goes back where Lundstram wins the header. McBurney gets it under control. He's going to play the through ball up to Lundstram. I don't know what his pace is like, but we've got Jesse Lingard bursting away down the right-hand side. Lingard, 1 touch, 2 touch. He's got to finish it. Oh, he's hit the bar, Jesse Lingard. That is so unfortunate. Oh, Jesse just can't quite find the net or really assist this season, actually. Oh, and that is why he just came so close there. What are you doing, Ayling? Jesus Christ. Ayling's looking for a space to get across, and he does. Bamford's there for the volley. Egan, that's a great extra touch to stop the danger, really, in its tracks. And that is half-time, where the score is 1-0. A frustrating half for us, I would say. We probably could have had 2 or 3 goals. Lingard hit the bar, of course, and we also had one missed by, I think it was Serdar in midfield. We could be, 3-0 up probably here. Everton are drawing at the moment. I don't know specifically what their goal difference is, but if we do win, there is a chance we could overtake them if Fulham can hold them to a draw, but I'm not 100% sure. Baldock. Oh, I think we might have just timed that brilliantly. And Lingard has stayed onside. In fact, he's got to score it this time. Jesse Lingard, finally, he puts the ball in the back of the net. And that is going to be a bit of a weight off the young man's shoulders. I say young man, he's actually one of the more mature players in this squad. I've gone for the press up again. I need to stop doing that press up. But Jesse Lingard has whacked the ball in the back of the net for 2-0. And that was a pretty good finish, pretty convincing. I was a bit worried. All the space and time that Lingard had, and I was just worried that he wasn't going to get the goal. But he does, and it is 2-0. A little bit of breathing space now for Sheffield United. Good finish that. Put his laces through it. Yeah, real purpose about that strike. Well done. McBurney using his physicality to maintain possession, and he's going to get a chance maybe to actually score himself here. He hasn't got pace, McBurney, I mean. Oh, and he hasn't got the quick feet either to do the dummy like we saw Mousse do earlier in the first half. And out for a throw. And we are going to make a couple of substitutions here, so we are going to have the chance to have a look at Joe Willock, who comes on to replace Jesse Lingard. Ryan Brewster is going to come on up front to replace Lise Mousse as well. So let's see if Rian can impact the game at all. Berger finds the gap. Willock also finds the gap. Here we go. It's Lundstram. He's probably been our best player. Can he get the goal to round it off? Yes, he can. And that caps a fine display from the number 7 in the middle of midfield. I've done it again. I've literally done it again. I tell myself every time, don't do that celebration. And there I am doing it for the 3rd time. But we have scored the 3 goals in this game. I don't know what Sheffield United were doing when we were doing the simulated matches. They just couldn't get goals. And I think we've shown here, and maybe, I mean, to be fair, we are playing the worst team in the league at the end of the season, but I just feel like this team is a lot better than we've shown for on the Sims and when we've been simulating the calendar. That was a great finish from Lundstram. Win an aerial battle with Berger. Serdar with the ball now. Cool, just about finds Berger, who's tackled well by Ayling, or Ayling picks up the ball, sorry. Phillips back to Hughes, who's come off the bench for Leeds. Click into Phillips with miles of space. Bamford tackled by O'Connell. Well played from the young English centre-back. I don't know why I keep saying young when these players aren't actually that young in footballing terms, but Brewster has come away with the ball now. We know this boy's got pace. Can he set up his teammate? Surely. Oh my God. I cannot believe that we haven't scored that. I think that was McBurney. I think that was McBurney who just couldn't score in the end there. Oh, that's unforgivable. Great save from the keeper, don't get me wrong. But from McBurney's perspective, that is unforgivable. Serdar, oh, we've got so many men over. Let's find the far post. And it's Lundstram for his 2nd of the game. And that is a 4th goal just to cap off a fine display from Sheffield United away here at Leeds. And that is, yeah, another great goal from Lundstram. Tucked it behind the keeper, tucked it past the keeper in the bottom right of the net. And a little skank rather than a one-handed press up from him that time. And we send Leeds down to the Championship with a whimper. Actually, it wasn't that great of a finish. It was a decent finish, but he could have got it a little bit more in the corner. In the end, just pretty poor keeping from Casilla. And yeah, we just get the 4th goal there to cap off a fine display. So that is full time. We do get the 4-0 victory overall to end the season off. Was that enough, though, to overtake Everton? What have Everton done meanwhile at Craven Cottage? Have they lost to Fulham? We hope Fulham have got the win. I don't think they needed the win to stay up or anything like that, but we just hope that they've got the win. Now, let's have a look before we get into the exciting stuff at our player ratings. A 10 out of 10 from Lundstram, or Lundstram, however you say this guy's name. Not surprised. Everybody got at least a 7 with the exception of the fullbacks there. Or Bogle was a sub, wasn't he? But even the subs came on and performed very, very well. An assist for Willock, an assist for Serdar, 2 assists as well for the substituted players, Lingard and Baldock as well. Everybody impressed me there, I have to say. I don't know what I've been seeing on the sim, guys. I really don't. So here we go. We go to a post-match interview, but I think it's going to flash up the scores. And Everton lost, which means we do achieve our goals. That's going to be big for the overall rating. That is going to affect the overall rating at the end of this episode a lot. And there's confirmation that we did finish 10th. We came 3 points behind Newcastle United. We got 49 points, which it's not great. We lost more games than we won, guys. I have to hold my hands up a little bit maybe at some of the transfer business we did, but overall the team underperformed. We've got a -1 goal difference. Newcastle finished 3 points ahead of us, but we did overtake Everton on the last day, which at least is a bit of a silver lining. West Brom did get sucked into it in the end, and Crystal Palace survived, so they go down. And of course the top 4 there and the top 6 you can see. So guys, that is the end of the Sheffield United episode of Clubs in Trouble. Now, I think we did a solid job. Potentially, I underinvested a little bit with the attacking players. You've got Moussa, McBurney and Lingard as the sort of firepower. Maybe I should have invested a little bit more in the strike force. But I just thought that the young talent that we had up there, Moussa and McBurney, Brewster as well coming through, I thought that would be enough to see us through. Perhaps I was a little bit naive in that. I was, however, really impressed with Serdar, our signing. And of course, we made some other sort of cute signings. The likes of Lingard, again, average for me, maybe underperformed. And of course, the youngster Willock, who maybe didn't grow as much as I would have liked. So maybe it's my fault. Maybe I could have made some better signings. But certainly long term. And again, if we were to do another season with Sheffield United, which I think we're going to have to do with this episode particularly, I think we'll see them grow more, and I think these will pay off, these signings, more in the long term. So let's leave it now to post-editing Jamie to make the overall verdict of the score out of 10. So for once we actually had a reasonably difficult time meeting our expectations and the objectives that we set. We still did in the end achieve it, but only by the skin of our teeth. As I mentioned just in the outro there, I do think maybe I personally underinvested a little bit in the attacking players and the firepower in the squad, but ultimately I think we still underperformed when you look at the rating and the squad that we had available. I think if we were to do a second season, we'd probably have to go with a wide formation. Maybe it harmed us a little bit having that narrow diamond in the Premier League. So, the score, I think we're going to have to go. I originally was going to go with a 4, but I think I'm going to have to up that to a 5, just purely based on the last day of the season getting 10th ahead of Everton. So that is going to be the score for today's episode. We haven't really been used to that in the first couple of episodes, but I mean, maybe this will happen from time to time. So Sheffield United, I think a second season would definitely be needed and would be advisable, so we can really see out the potential of the signings that we made. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for this episode, guys. So as always, if you have enjoyed this episode, please leave a like on the video. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much once again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you later.